As we get to 4 o'clock on this Monday afternoon, we're following breaking news that you've probably seen if you live near Boulder. A fire forcing evacuations in Boulder County. The calls came in a little after 2 o'clock. Smoke can be seen from around the area from Bow Mountain right on down to Pearl Street, even out onto the Boulder Turnpike. The Sunshine Wildland Fire started burning at about 2. And the Boulder Office of Emergency Management say that right now they're assuming that fire to be about 18 acres in size.
It started in the 2900 block of Sunshine Canyon. That's just northwest of downtown Boulder, if you're familiar with that. There are no evacuation orders for the City of Boulder, but there are evacuation orders for people living around the Pine Brook Hill area and an area west of Foothills Community Park. Rangers have been evacuating visitors from the trails on nearby Mount Santos, and in the last 15 minutes, Boulder issued an evacuation warning, essentially alerting people to be ready to leave. This is something we know all too much about after the Marshall Fire. And so these are the areas that are active around West Boulder between Linden and University Avenues. The Boulder County Fairgrounds is open for any large animals that need to be evacuated.
So let's see the pictures right now. That's the live look from downtown Boulder, showing some of the smoke just coming up off the horizon. Not too far from the Pearl Street Mall. We have seen heavy smoke at times. Other times, though, it's been a bit lighter. 9 News reporter Cole Sullivan has made his way out there to Boulder County with the latest. Cole, tell us where you are and what you can see and smell.
Tom, I'm along Linden Avenue. This is the road up to Pine Brook Hills, one of those neighborhoods that you talked about with the evacuation. And as I step out of frame here, we can see the smoke from up over this ridge here. You can see a little bit of a glow where the fire is. The smoke has migrated north just in the 20 minutes that we've been here. We've seen it go from kind of the left side of your screen all the way over to the right side, implying that fire is moving north as well. There's a checkpoint set up here. This is as far as they're letting folks go because the area beyond, basically where you're looking right now, is part of that evacuation area. They're sending folks back down the mountain. We've seen a lot of folks coming down the mountain and more people here walking around looking at it from this area. Also seen a lot of emergency crews, including some mutual aid from other areas, including Erie and others, on their way up this direction to try to help fight this fire that right now is in this ridge. We have to talk about the wind, though. It has lulled a little bit now. You can maybe hear it in this microphone picking back up. It's been blowing pretty consistently since we got out here about 25 minutes ago. And you can see as more folks come down from the evacuation area and more fire equipment heads up this hill on its way to try to help. This is an engine here from the Sugarloaf Fire Department as the Boulder County Fire Department calls in for extra help and mutual aid. We've seen rangers, as you said. This is a Longmont school resource officer on their way up here to help, asking for as much assistance as they can as they continue to battle this fire, Tom.
All right, Cole, we're going to be checking in, of course, throughout, but the one thing we've not been able to see anything or hear about is any air support with that wind blowing as hard as it is.
They can't do that.
Yeah.
That's what brings back all the memories of the Marshall Fire.
So this is another live look here, this from Bow Mountain. The last time Boulder got snow, well, that was 3 weeks ago, November 29th, when 5.5 inches fell there. The red flag warning for the area with some 40-mile-an-hour gusts are being reported. Kathy Saban's back with us today, and that wind, especially in those canyons, can really travel in this time of weather.
It absolutely is, Tom. We have winds aloft out of the northwest, which means we're seeing the winds push the flames of that fire out of Sunshine Canyon toward the southeast and then kind of fan out as it comes down along the Front Range foothills. An eerie sight, a lot of people on edge, and rightfully so. We shouldn't be talking about fires this time of year, especially when we're talking about what could be record cold and snow coming in just a couple of days. Bullseye for the worst of the wind: Broomfield, Boulder, Allens Park, Estes Park, and Red Feather Lakes. Actually, this is an improvement over what I saw about a half hour ago. These gusty northwest winds were going to 50 miles per hour. So those of you downstream from this area, south and southeast, be mindful that that is where the smoke and eventually potentially some flames could be pushing. So we're watching the wind extremely carefully and closely because humidity values are running in the teens right now. So National Weather Service put out a red flag warning through 6 o'clock for the Boulder County area, extending up to areas west of Fort Collins because because of the increase in wind, which we really hope will be dying down here after sunset. Relatively calm and cool in Denver. Temperatures this afternoon comfortable. Don't get used to it. We'll see 40s for another day or so, and then the Arctic cold is about to take hold. The front comes in on Wednesday night. Along with the cold comes 2 to 4 inches of snow, and we have a wind chill watch out. We could see wind chill values go to 25 and 50 below. And so with the current temperatures very mild, these could be your high temperatures on Thursday. Temperatures some 10 to 15 degrees below zero out across eastern Colorado. That is dangerous for man and for beast, and we are fearful about frostbite in this situation. So again, wind chill values coming in 25 to 50 below with a wind chill watch that goes out starting Wednesday night. Coming up in our main weather segment, we're going to detail the timing of the Arctic front, how much snow to expect, and just how low the numbers will go and for how long. After all, Kim, Tom, we're headed into the Christmas holiday weekend.
Yeah, certainly something we're going to keep an eye on. Thanks, Kathy. Of course, we're monitoring it all for you right here on 9 News. And you can get the latest weather information at the 9 News app as well. It is, as always, free to download from the Apple and Google Play stores.
We also want to mention that the Boulder Community Center, the East Boulder Community Center, will be opening at 5:30 for people that might need to go there for resources, and Boulder Humane Society for small animals. Okay. So they're preparing for everything in case. Let's hope with the sunset that things will change.
Yeah, we'll be keeping an eye on that fire, of course, throughout here on 9 News and at 9news.com. There was other big news today coming out of Washington. The January 6th committee approving 4 criminal referrals against former President Trump for his role in the attempts to overturn the 2020 election.
The committee argued that the former president directed a violent mob to the Capitol in an effort to legally overturn the election. Congress has never taken such an action against a former president before this. The referral also targets Trump's lawyer, John Eastman. Eastman, at the time, was a visiting scholar at CU Boulder. Eastman wrote a 2-page memo outlining a plan to get Vice President Mike Pence to refuse to certify the election. The committee said people warned Eastman his blueprint to throw out the election results was illegal, crazy, and would cause riots in the streets. The committee subpoenaed Eastman, but he refused to appear. This afternoon, Eastman put out a statement as well, saying in part that the American people have been ill-served by the January 6th committee and its members, and that any charges recommended by the committee should carry less weight, given the partisan process that produced it. More on what the Justice Department might do coming up at 4:30. In response to the increase of stolen cars in Metro Denver, the Metro Auto Theft Task Force has announced a plan to significantly reduce stolen cars in 3 hotspot areas. And
2022 is wrapping up, but so far this year, nearly 17,000 cars have been stolen just in Denver. Topping the list of locations where cars have been stolen is the RTD Park and Ride on East Smith Road. 116 vehicles have been stolen there this year. The commander of the Auto Theft Task Force says starting in January, they'll be focusing on DIA, the hotel row near DIA, and a specific area in the southeast district of Denver. The goal is to try to reduce stolen cars in those areas by 50%.
We're going to do increased enforcement. We're going to do bait vehicles. We're going to do surveillance. We're going to put up surveillance cameras, all kinds of things in those areas, because we really do want to focus on those to see what we can do. By zeroing in on those areas, can we reduce the auto theft in those 3 specific areas?
And the Auto Theft Task Force will also be expanding their public outreach efforts, reminding drivers to always lock their cars and to take their keys with them and to have some type of anti-theft device on their vehicles.
Hospitals in Colorado and across the country continue to be overwhelmed by the triple-demic of RSV, COVID, and the flu. Children's Hospital and CDPHE said a few weeks ago that we would likely reach the peak of RSV cases, and the latest numbers indicate that those cases are dropping. Flu and COVID cases, though, still high. Today, Health and Human Services Secretary Xavier Becerra visited Colorado Children's Hospital for a roundtable on this very discussion and committed federal aid to hospitals in Colorado and across the U.S.
We are going to try to be there as much as we can at the federal level. We know that most of this work is done at the very local level and with the help of states, but we want all of our state and local partners to know that we're there and we're going to try to help you stay ahead of this. And so if you tell us you need something, we're just going to ask how high do you need us to jump.
So Becerra stressed Americans do need to get their flu shots to help prevent causing these cases to rise during the winter. This time of the year, it's really hard to avoid hearing those stories or just going to your next door and hearing about what was swept off your front porch, the package you had. We see a lot of package theft right now. Arrest rates for this kind of thieves, well, it's dropping in Denver.
Investigative reporter Jeremy Hole, and now with a look at why it is so rare for any porch pirates to actually get busted.
Online, on apps like Ring and Nextdoor, it's a common complaint in sight. A constant parade of thieves making off with your holiday deliveries.
You would think with all these doorbell cameras out in the world, porch pirates would be held at bay. They're caught on camera often, but to get caught by police is actually very rare.
This year, package theft data from Denver police shows porch pirates have had a near 97% chance of getting away with your stuff without getting arrested. The 3.4% arrest rate is the lowest since 2017, when it used to be 9.3%. It's fallen down every year.
With a limited amount of officers that we have, it's hard for us to see crimes before they occur. But if we can all work together and to prevent this, that's going to be key.
I asked police about the dropping arrest rates.
It is a lower priority, but it's frustrating.
As reported thefts have increased, they nearly doubled over the last few years, from 638 in 2019 to 1,200 last year. We're on track to meet or break last year's number.
We can see the number of reported incidents has been going up, but the number of arrests has been going down. Why is that?
That's a good question. Again, I think it goes back to manpower. When we get the call for a package theft, usually it's hours ago. There's typically not any witnesses. Sometimes we have issues tracking down leads.
Easy to get on camera, harder to get cuffed.
They're unfortunately hard to prosecute. Sometimes we get good video footage from Ring doorbells or such, but if the suspect has his face covered or there's no other identifiable factors, it makes it harder for our investigators to track down leads.
So we talk about this often. Police say the best way to try and beat the thieves is to have your stuff delivered to your workplace where someone can actually physically receive the package, or you can get it sent to one of those storage lockers, or you can get help from a neighbor when you do get a delivery notification on your phone.
It's a bit of a roulette game, though. You never know if you're talking about a diamond bracelet or a box of rice out there on the porch when you're stealing it.
Yeah, and I've seen cases. I've actually looked into people who've been arrested for this crime. Most of the time, it's a petty theft charge. Yeah. Sometimes they'll just get a summons, and then they'll skip out on their court date, and they don't show up. Other cases I've seen, it could be felonious, where something is worth thousands of dollars.
Strictly by value.
It's strictly by value. So that happens from time to time, but for the most part, it's just usually a very petty theft charge, very low-level charge.
Okay.
'Tis the season, though.
'Tis the season.
It is.
Right. Thanks, Jeremy.
Yeah.
The holidays, well, often a time of celebration. It can be hard, though, for those experiencing grief.
Coming up, we're going to talk to an expert on how kids, especially, can be vulnerable this time of year. Plus, an inside look into Space Force headquarters as they prepare for the next steps in lunar expeditions.